welcome in our final guest today. Dr. Wendy Schiller is professor of political science at Brown University. She's in town as a special speaker at the Jefferson Educational Society tonight. Welcome, Dr. Schiller.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, nice to have you. What is your topic tonight?
How social media and media, our traditional ideas of media, local television news, print media, affects public opinion and also the confidence we have in government. So how does it make people feel more secure or less secure? And what we watch, who we listen to, how does that shape how we vote, who we socialize with, and we come to view really important issues?
I feel like it's had such a negative impact on the political cycles that I don't know where things are going at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. I mean, because, it used to be that if you had to say something to somebody's face, you'd really kind of watch what you said or how you said it. But now you can just type it into some thing that goes out and somebody else receives it. It's easier to be more vitriolic, sometimes more angry, frequently more angry when you're not face to face. And I think it's that and COVID has really compounded that kind of venting of anger through social media.
Yeah, I would think social media is where we're seeing the biggest change, over the past decade when it comes to affecting our government, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. But let's remember that 22, 23 million people, give or take, are on Twitter, and everybody talks about tweets and Twitter, but that's not nearly anything like Facebook or Instagram or any of the other social media outlets. So sometimes these social media outlets can influence what we talk about, even though you're not on Twitter or somebody else is not on Twitter. And there's age differences, right? Younger people are on Instagram. Slightly older people, maybe my age, a little younger, are on Facebook. And so now you have differentiation on social media use, which affects public opinion and political opinions.
It's hard to know today what's real and what's not real on social media, and that is really, that's forming a lot of people's political opinions when they go to the polls based on what they've seen.
And what they've heard somebody else has seen. So I like to ask people when they say, they say, and I'll say, who is they?
I do that all the time.
I want to know, who is they? Who are you listening to? Where are you getting this information? I do that for liberal people, for conservative people. I don't care what their ideology is. I want to know what the source of their information is. And so, when I was raised, you read a newspaper, and that was vetted by an editor and lawyers because they don't want to be sued for libel. So, a lot of the new media cases we're seeing where people are being sued for social media content, there's no gatekeeper there. And that's starting to be a real thing where now you're being held accountable for social media postings, whereas a couple of years ago you weren't. I think that's going to change what people post on social media.
And it's not even so much, they found an article on Facebook. They might even be basing their opinion on a meme or a headline. It doesn't even go as deep anymore as,
as even reading the full.
It's one little line they saw.
And they're fed that by an algorithm. So every time you press like, every time you watch something on TikTok, every time you do that, then that algorithm says, oh, that's what they like. I'm going to feed them more of these things. So it compounds, and it really is a problem because on your phone you can have so many different social media apps. And people start to say, well, is it true or is it not true? And then you look to politicians, and they're using the same social media apps, and they're bound by that same algorithm that will either send their stuff out to a lot of people or maybe block it.
I think that it really, really affected the last presidential election. I'm looking ahead to the next presidential election. Are we a little bit more worldly about how these algorithms work, or are we all just falling down the pit even further as we head into this next election cycle?
This country has been polarized since the beginning. So yes, we have more, it looks to be more polarized, but because the federal government is much larger, it affects people's lives many more ways than it ever did before. So we feel that polarization all the time, but we were very polarized for a long time. And as far as social media use, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, from ancient times, right? President Franklin Delano Roosevelt used fireside chats. He took advantage of radio, which was a brand new technology to reach the people directly every week. And he messaged them. He told them, this is what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Nobody really challenged him. President Trump, when he was president and a candidate, did the same thing with Twitter. He was reaching out as president and connecting. So the idea that a president has to find a way to connect and cut through everything else, that's still true. The technology is different. But it's still the same thing. And if you're not good enough at it, you won't get your message out.
It's going to be a great topic tonight at the JES. 7 o'clock tonight, I believe. Dr. Schiller, thanks for stopping by and chatting with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.
We'll be right back.